Hi everybody, I'm the inspirational Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and remember, it was all a dream. I used to read WhatCulture Wrestling magazine.
Very good. And I'm Adam Nicholas. I'm not Adam Wilborn, and I'm slightly less inspirational than this man, Andy Murray.
Coming up today, we've got stories on Finn Balor and his health. Will he make SummerSlam?
Renee Young reacts to criticism on Twitter.
Alundra Blaze and Lacey Evans are shooting hard.
And Trevor, Ricochet man who's been missing from TV, we know why.
This is the news. Let's fire straight in with our lead story today, which concerns one Terry Bollea.
Hey.
Hulk Hogan, to give him his actual wrestling name.
Your friend and mine?
Close person. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Obviously, he's been on WWE television a little bit since the company kind of brought him back into the fold last year. He was on the Saudi Arabian show. He was at WrestleMania, where he got the weirdest mixed reaction I've ever heard. And he was at the Raw reunion as well. He was in that closing segment and one with Jimmy Hart backstage. There's heavy talk that him and the rest of the NWO could be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame next year. As commented by PW Insider's Mike Johnson, the WrestleMania weekend that year is in Tampa, which is Hogan country. So it would make perfect sense to have them get involved. But this Mike Johnson report has led to heavy speculation that as part of this, Hogan could be brought back as some kind of TV personality in whatever kind of role ahead of WrestleMania 36. Now, obviously, pinch of salt here, this is speculation. Mike Johnson didn't say this, it's been just responded up by a number of other sources, including the Daily Express, which is a very reputable newsletter here in the United States. There's my nose. What do you reckon of all this? Hulk Hogan come back to TV? Interesting?
God, I hope not. And I mean, I can see why. He's got the history with the company, and regardless of where a lot of fans sit, and many fans love him for what he's done for the business, and he still gets a reaction. I hate to say it, but he still gets a reaction. What reaction that is, of course. I mean, I'll let you decide that, but it sounds very WWE, doesn't it?
It's very WWE. It'll be a controversial thing if it happens. There'll be lots of debate. There'll be lots of people shooting at each other in various comment sections across the internet. It's probably going on right now, in fact. But we were both in the building at WrestleMania. If you watch that show back, when he comes out to Alexa Bliss, they've edited it to sound like a massive cheer.
Is that right?
They have, the cheeky little scamps.
Oh, cheeky scamps.
In reality, it was very mixed. There were a lot of people cheering, to be fair, but there was also a lot of people either just kind of sitting there like, oh, goodness grief, or people booing. So Hogan coming back into the fold has been a very tricky thing. It has been, it's not sat well with everyone. It probably never will, and understandably so.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you get that reaction, and when we were there live, personally, it wasn't a cheer for me. I just went with what my gut said, and it wasn't a cheer. So there you go.
That's how you should react in the end, isn't it?
And if you're going to react to stuff, it's up to you, isn't it? But speaking of people who've reacted to things, Renee Young has been at it on Twitter because, now we all know Twitter is a difficult place, and WWE seem to have been having a lot of difficulty with Twitter recently, and the people who frequent it. It can be really good sometimes, but a lot of people have a lot of things to say. Well, Renee Young has been dealing with the backlash about her commentary on Monday Night Raw. Fans always seem to want to have a say. We've got a few tweets here that took place over the weekend. Not great stuff, but we'll get into it, shall we? Renee Young tweeted, that's just a random tweet that she, I'd love it if adult men would stop tucking their ears into their baseball hats. And randomly, this was the trigger for it of all things.
For me, to be fair, really tough.
Hey, you got lovely ears. Don't let the world hit you down.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not going to give the person's Twitter handle, but they said, I would love it if WWE would stop putting SE, the swear,
that word,
SE announcers on their shows. Mauro and Nigel are the only good ones. To which Renee Young, I want to say Renee reacts. I keep wanting to do it. Renee Young responded, and the checks keep coming in with kiss faces and whatever. I guess just trying to play it down. We know how that feels when people are tweeting at you and giving you stick. Anyway, this led to someone saying, I've watched Rollins go from babyface to no one likes you by accident talking about money. We get it, you have a high-paying public job. Cool story, sis. Perhaps the WWE should hold a class on how not to sound like an asshole in public. At which point, we got a very earnest response from Renee Young, which is what has set a lot of this all in motion afterwards. She said, here's the truth, I know I'm not great on comedy, but it's my job. I try to get better each week. People love to tell me how bad I am at it as if I think I'm great at it. So should I just quit? What would that say about me? Not easy to learn a skill on a gigantic global TV show. Now, we get comments in the comment sections of everything all the time, and we are all constantly worried about whether we're doing well or not. So this is relatable. We can,
100%.
And no, obviously certainly not the level that they have to deal with it. But Andy Murray, what's your thoughts on this? Because I feel like it seems like this is happening to a lot of people at the moment in WWE.
Yeah, there's a little bit to unpack here. Obviously, Renee's comment, the checks keep coming in, is kind of unsavory, and if we're going to drag Seth Rollins for doing that against Will Ospreay, we have to do the same here, unfortunately. But at the same time, the people who are tweeting these criticisms, just don't be assholes.
Yeah.
Like, behave yourselves, treat people with respect, and be nice on social media. Now, a lot of the criticism, I think, regarding how Renee has performed on commentary is certainly warranted, but at the same time, you have to recognize that in WWE, like, it's a ridiculous environment if you're a commentator. You have this crazy billionaire shouting in your ear the whole show, and her big response there is very earnest, it's very frank, and it's very refreshing. She doesn't think she's Jim Ross circa 1998. She's learning on the job, and like a lot of people in that position, she's probably finding it quite hard to adapt. Unless we forget that Renee Young is a tremendous broadcaster. She's done extremely well in every other role. Yeah, I'm all for her. Good response, good stuff. Love to hear it.
Absolutely, and I think it's nice to see. I think if they just went down this route a bit more often, the earnest approach, because we all know there's a human being behind that face on TV cameras. She's a fantastic presenter. She said it herself. Her actual career skill set is in being a TV presenter. Being a commentator is a completely different set of skills. And as you say, Vince McMahon shouting in her ear every 5 minutes and contending with the noise. And it's not an easy job. And to be fair, if someone said to you back at home, get yourself out there in front of an audience of however many people and try and do this thing on the fly, that is high intensity, high pressure situation. But
absolutely.
a lot of her friends at WWE were quick to back her up. We had the likes of Rollins, the likes of Peyton Royce, Lance Storm, and a whole host of others all got on Twitter and were basically congratulating on how good of a job she's doing, telling her to ignore the haters. And yeah, I guess just another example of Twitter getting on top of WWE at the moment.
The best way, of course, to make Twitter a more fun experience is liberal use of the mute button.
Indeed, and also before we go, just like what you like. Instead of being critical, just like the things you like, and why you don't feel the need to tell people about the negative stuff.
I don't know if I can say
you
that.
Can say that. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. It's very easy.
Behave yourself.
Exactly. You get out of the world what you put into it. Andy Murray, let's move on.
Shall we move on to a man who always behaves himself? Finn Balor. So he was set to wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura, the man who took his Intercontinental title at Extreme Rules. They were supposed to wrestle at the Smackville network special this weekend, or house show that was put on the network, however you want to classify it. Match didn't happen. Nakamura ended up facing Ali instead. It was reported by the company that Finn had pulled out via injury, but the real reason he had to pull out was because he is sick. He's got an undisclosed illness. This was confirmed by Finn himself. He posted an Instagram update yesterday of himself in a hospital bed, one of those fluid things. IV drip. That's the one, attached to his arm with the caption SummerSlam. Now, he is expected, he's advertised to wrestle on SmackDown this Tuesday, tomorrow. Whether or not that goes ahead is up in the air now, particularly if he's using SummerSlam as a caption. But the good news is that should hopefully mean that his match with Bray Wyatt as The Fiend is still on. Fingers crossed for that.
I would like this not to go south again for these two, because obviously last time we had them went to have a match at SummerSlam, everybody ended up not having that match. A lot of negativity was surrounding that, so it'd be nice to see them actually get a chance. And for God's sake, if there's anyone out there who can make this happen, please just cross your fingers, cross your toes. I just want to see Bray Wyatt do well, and Finn Balor clearly is going to be there to help him do that.
Let's hope it happens, baby.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope he gets better soon. Good luck to you, Phil. Speaking of people, Phil Balor. Good luck to you, Finn. Speaking of people who might need to get better, let's move on to Trevor Ricochet Man, who has been missing from WWE TV for a couple of weeks now, and people are wondering, where is he? Why was he not on the Raw reunion show, Andy Murray? And why was Seth Rollins in a match with AJ Styles randomly that included the OCs and DX getting over with their best friends, the NWO? Well, it turns out that Trevor Ricochet Man is indeed injured. He's got an elbow infection that he's been suffering from, and this is reported by Fightful, who basically said that they're not really sure about a ton of details, but he is suffering from this elbow infection, and the duration of when he will be returning to TV or to the ring is currently unknown. So that would explain that. I myself was a bit confused as to why Ricochet was suddenly out of it and why Rollins was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, best mate Rollins, big pals with a click.
Big pals Seth Rollins, yeah.
To be fair, Ricochet would have been really weird in that spot as well. Yeah, it's kind of worrying when you hear things like this, that he's on the inactive list, because he obviously, well, apparently, according to Shire Dave, they're lining up another match between him and AJ at SummerSlam, and you'd think that particularly after the way the last pay-per-view match, it wasn't the best critically received match of the year, they'd maybe go all out and have an absolute banger. Yeah, so, I mean, much like Finn, let's just hope he's fit and proper.
Absolutely, definitely a match I'd like to see at SummerSlam on the card.
SummerSlam's looking really good.
Absolutely.
So, here's hoping that happens. We'll move on to our final story of the day. I've just titled this one Idiots, because I have no idea what they're doing. Lacey Evans and Alundra Blaze last week on Twitter, they got into it a little bit, didn't they? They got a bit spicy, shooting back and forth after the Raw reunion. Lacey wasn't happy about Legends. Alundra Blaze was, I don't know, drunk or something. It was odd. It's kind of intensified over the weekend, and it has turned into a full-blown shoot. Pew, 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 pew. Alundra Blaze, she tweeted out saying, "We need another Legend versus current talent match at SummerSlam. Who would you like to see?" Obviously, we're getting Trish versus Charlotte. That would be really good. Yeah. Lacey Evans versus Alundra Blaze, maybe less good. Lacey Evans quote tweeted this with the response, "I volunteer to rip you out of your retirement home and make you choke on your words. Legend or not, you're disrespectful, swollen-headed nasty that has it coming. Talk about my family again, I'll lose this career gladly waving goodbye. I just spat on my phone with your blood on my hands. Hashtag shoot."
Wow.
So, what's the end game here? Are they trying to wrestle? Are they trying to fight? I have no idea. Are they just working us? They might just be working
not
us.
Trying to make friends, I know that much.
It's a weird situation. I'm not sure what the hell they're doing.
No.
They might just be working us, and they might just be trying to get on shows like this with a little mention.
That's the sole purpose. I've got to get on the WhatCulture wrestling news.
That 100,000 people that will watch this compared to the fucking 7 million that will watch Raw, that's generous.
I mean, listen, I'd want to be on this show. If I was a wrestler, I'd want to be on this show getting mentioned. One thing, though, you think is that it must be stemming from a place of actual disgruntlement, because Lacey Evans, who featured heavily on WWE TV and on the pay-per-views, just completely not on the card. For the reunion. And neither was Baron Corbin, her partner in crime, that last one, just completely missing, and along with a whole host of others. So maybe this is just actually some deep-rooted...
Some proper shooting.
Yeah, and also, I'd pay to see her hit Alundra Blaze with the women's right. Full-on smacker.
This is weird. Shall we move on?
Brilliant. Listen, I'm just booking matches, mate.
Listen, I would pay to see that shoot fight as well. Yeah. I'm with you.
The shoot fight.
Let's move on to the questions. Nice easy one here from Mark Boz to start things off. Mark/Boz, sorry. Serious question. What was the actual point of Smackville? I don't see any reason why it was a thing.
What was the actual point? I don't think anybody knows what the actual point of Smackville was, other than Vince McMahon, and I'm still fairly certain that even he wouldn't be 100% sure.
Yeah, it's an odd one. I do like to see them kind of throwing random house shows on the network, so it was kind of cool in that regard, but I didn't watch that thing, and I'm willing to bet a lot of people who watching this didn't watch it either. So.
Hey, I didn't either. So
hey! Smackville ups and downs coming soon. Maybe.
Yeah.
Simon probably watched it.
He probably did, and I guarantee you there's a few ups and a few downs.
Absolutely.
On that one.
Maybe even a brown down.
Maybe a golden up.
Let's move on to Richard McLarnon, who asks, given that AJ, Daniel Bryan, and Finn Balor had really good David versus Goliath matches with Brock, how important is it that Seth does the same at SummerSlam, given his sliding reputation with the fans?
This is a tough one, because I don't know. I don't know if it's super important, but what I would say is they had people perceived their match at WrestleMania to be a good match because of the way it was told, essentially.
The pop.
But that match, there wasn't a whole lot going on in that match, was there? It was quick, it was what it was. It was explosive and a great way to start the show. They can't just do that again at SummerSlam, I feel. Surely not.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get a longer match slightly, and Brock's, if assuming that they're having Seth win the belt back,
I think so.
Then Brock's going to have that kind of match, the David versus Goliath match, and then lose. The best one for me of them was probably either Finn Balor's or Daniel Bryan's, one of those two. And I'm not sure that I just don't see Seth in the same mould as that, me personally.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be a good acid test for Rollins, and particularly after making his best in the world comments, because Balor and Bryan and all these guys have gone out there and had awesome matches with Brock. He needs to hit that same level, really, if he wants to justify that claim. I do think they will have a proper match this time, and I'm actually looking forward to see it, because for me, nothing beats the spectacle of a big Brock match when he's motivated, when he's fired up, when he's ready to do business. So let's see how it goes.
I would say also, probably the last time Seth had a really, really good singles match that I can personally remember was Backlash with The Miz in the Intercontinental title match. That was ages ago, and it's about time we saw a good match. So
another
maybe
proper banger.
We need it. We need it.
Final question of the day comes to us from Stephen Lewis, who asks, John effin Moxley is white hot.
Yes, he is.
G1 Climax. This experience will make the match between him and Kenny Omega that much sweeter at All Out. But could their strong aura alone overpower the main event, which is Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho?
Interesting. I think a very quick answer to that is yes. Yes, it could. And I would actually even go further than that and say the strong aura is all belonging to John Moxley for me at the moment, because he is doing the best stuff that's happening in wrestling right now. If you're not following his run in the G1, do that and just stop watching this video and go and do that, because literally it's that good. The character work, the pairing with Shooter, everything he's doing, every word that comes out of his mouth is great. And I have a feeling that he is now suddenly managed to position himself as probably the key player in AEW, Andy Murray.
Yeah, he's killing it at the moment. They've done a really, really good job with him on both promotions. His recent interview on the Road to All Out really reframed his New Japan run in a way that benefits his AEW run. He's hotter than the surface of the sun. Kenny Omega is obviously massive internet favourite, arguable top 3 wrestler in the world. I think this program is a lot hotter, unfortunately, than Page versus Jericho, which really cooled off at Fight for the Fallen. I do believe that program will heat up as the video series progresses, as Road to All Out goes on. But for me, at the moment, absolutely, I think it is going to overshadow that match. And I mean, I hope it doesn't, because I want to see a great world title match, but it's going that way.
I do think that. And I also think that we need a big match from Kenny Omega. It feels like it's been a while since we've got a really top tier, New Japan level kind of match from Omega, and I'd like to see that.
Yeah, the Jericho match was good. Not quite on the same level as his upper tier. Good performance in the 6-man, the other ones, but yeah, let's see Kenny Omega. Let's see the real Kenny Omega. Can't wait for that match.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be good.
Gonna be bloody great. Can't wait.
And finally.
So
if you tuned into our news video on, I think it was Friday, we had a bunch of anti-masturbation ads that had been done up by some little scamp on Reddit. We had something like Jake the Snake Roberts saying the only snake I play with is Damien, and Macho Man saying stop wanking. It was really weird. It was really good fun, but we challenged the viewers to make their own, and make their own they did. And as promised, we have got, well, my favourite from the user generated one. So it stars Braun Strowman.
Excellent.
It says the only thing that gets these hands is my opponent. Keep yours off your monster.
Very good.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very good.
Thank you very much to that from Twitter user Rich Baker, not to be confused with Ricky Baker from Hunt for the Wilder People.
Absolutely not.
Anyway, let's sign off.
Niche references.
Let's sign off for today. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. That's where you can send your Twitter questions for tomorrow's news. Cool.
Good.
Once you've done that, you can follow us individually on Twitter. This is Adam Nicholas. You can follow him at
It's Adam Nicholas. And this is Andy Murray. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hoss.
There it is.
We're going to go and cry or something. Bye.
Yeah. I don't know what that was, but I followed your lead, so there we go.
Weird out of that.